Hello, Redlationship fam!
How was your day? I'm Frank, so hop in the passenger seat because I've curated the absolute best Reddit stories for our drive today. Buckle up by hitting that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out. Let's drive in. Our story today comes from someone who took their dilemma to the Am I the Asshole subreddit back on January 16th, 2026. And they ask, am I the asshole for deciding not to attend my sister's wedding after overhearing what she said about me? This is a throwaway account. I really don't want this getting back to anyone in my family for pretty obvious reasons. I've also added a few edits at the bottom because I realized I left out some context that matters. I, 26 female, genuinely need outside opinions here because my family is completely split. And I honestly can't tell if I'm being too sensitive or if this is the first time I'm actually standing up for myself. My sister Emily, 30, female, is getting married in about 2 months. We were never particularly close growing up. She was always the golden child. If you know, you know. And I was sort of just there. Not totally ignored, but definitely never celebrated the same way. Still, I agreed to be a bridesmaid because my mom practically begged me and said it would mean the world to Emily. Wedding planning itself was stressful, but nothing out of the ordinary. Until last weekend. Emily had a small bachelorette weekend at an Airbnb. There were 7 of us total. On the second night, I went upstairs early because I had a headache and wasn't feeling great. Later that night, around midnight, I realized I had left my charger downstairs, so I quietly went back down, trying not to wake anyone. That's when I overheard Emily talking to her maid of honor. She didn't know I was on the stairs. She was drunk, laughing, and said, "I only asked her to be a bridesmaid so my mom would shut up. She's always ruining things anyway. I swear to God, if she shows up looking for attention, I'll lose it." Her friend laughed and said something like, "Well, at least you'll look better next to her, so." Emily replied, "Exactly. It's kind of a win-win." I completely froze. I felt like the air left my body. For context, I've struggled with my confidence for years, especially compared to Emily. She knows this. Growing up, she constantly commented on my weight, my hair, my clothes, always brushing it off as helpful advice. I went back upstairs and didn't say a word for the rest of the weekend. When we got home, I sent her a message saying I was stepping down as a bridesmaid and would not be attending the wedding. At first, I didn't explain why. I just said I needed space and wished her the best. After that, she kept pushing for an explanation, saying it didn't make sense and that I was being dramatic again, like always. I didn't repeat her exact words back to her, but I did tell her, "I overheard a conversation at the bachelorette party that deeply hurt me." She put the pieces together herself after that, and completely lost it. She called me crying, saying I was intentionally sabotaging her wedding, that I was overreacting, and that everyone says things they don't mean when they're drunk. My mom called next and said I was punishing the entire family over a misunderstanding. My dad told me I should be the bigger person. Then things somehow got worse. Yesterday, Emily posted in the bridesmaids group chat, which I forgot I was still in, saying she was heartbroken that I was abandoning her and that she never meant to hurt me. But she never actually apologized. Not once. Now half my family is texting me saying I'm selfish, while the other half is telling me I finally did what they never had the courage to do. I haven't responded to anyone yet. Am I the asshole for refusing to attend her wedding after overhearing that conversation? I'm honestly conflicted, and part of me keeps wondering if I really am the problem. Edit. I'm going to take some of your advice. I'll update soon. Listen, I've been around long enough to know that alcohol doesn't invent personality traits. It just reveals them. That excuse the sister is using? It's garbage. That's the thing about this situation that really gets under my skin. The sister didn't just make a drunken mistake, she confessed her actual strategy. She explicitly said asking OP was a win-win solely to make herself look better by comparison. That is cold-blooded. That is calculated. And now, watching the family circle the wagons and tell OP to be the bigger person? It's the classic playbook for enabling a bully. They aren't asking OP to forgive. They are asking OP to go back to being the quiet punching bag so the wedding photos look perfect. A person doesn't say things like, "I'll lose it if she seeks attention," unless they've been harboring that resentment for years. And don't even get me started on that heartbroken act in the group chat. That wasn't an apology, that was PR damage control. If she truly cared, she would have driven to OP's house, looked her in the eye, and begged for forgiveness. Instead, she's trying to win a popularity contest against her own sister. It's pathetic, really. OP isn't ruining the wedding by staying home. The sister ruined it the moment she decided to use her own sibling as a prop for her vanity. OP is right to walk away because you can't have a relationship with someone who views your existence as a joke. The commenter said to OP, "Not the asshole. You might not have intended to hurt me, but that doesn't erase the fact that you did. And the worst part is, you never even apologized." In vino veritas. Editor's note: in Latin, in vino veritas means, in wine there is truth. OP replied, "I actually never knew what that phrase meant before, but now it makes a lot of sense. Thank you. I really appreciate you explaining it." The second commenter said, "Your sister sounds completely two-faced. Honestly, in hindsight, you should have recorded her saying all that trash and blasted it to your entire family and her fiancé. Screw all of them." OP then replied, "I seriously wish I had. My phone was dead, which is literally why I went downstairs for my charger. And that's what led to all this bullshit in the first place." The third commenter said, "I am so sorry, OP. It really sounds like your family has been taking you for granted for a very long time. This is the moment where you finally stand up for yourself. Be honest. They can either accept it or reject it. That part is on them. I know it must hurt like hell, but it won't stop until you draw a line. Ask for a genuine apology and see how they respond." And OP expressed, "I'm really trying. Confrontation has always been extremely hard for me, and this is usually how things go. No matter what I do, I somehow end up being the villain. That's why most of the time I don't even bother trying. But this time, I am." The OP came back with an update after one day, and it said, "First off, I have no idea if I'm doing this update right, so please bear with me. But seriously, wow, I never expected my last post to blow up like that. Reading through your comments validated that I wasn't crazy, because my family definitely had me questioning my sanity. It's been rough, and I am completely drained. Here is the update, and fair warning, things escalated fast. About an hour ago, Emily pounded on my door without warning. Just when I thought this nightmare couldn't get any worse, she decided to ambush me at home because I'd been ignoring her calls. She claimed she wanted to clear the air and talk like adults. Against my gut instinct, I let her in. Right on cue, she turned on the waterworks. That's her standard move whenever she's cornered. She started spinning a narrative that she was the victim, claiming I was being unreasonable and trying to turn the family against her, which is absolutely not happening. I let her finish her little speech, then I asked her the million-dollar question. "Do you remember exactly what you said at the bachelorette party?" She went dead silent. It was agonizingly awkward. After a long pause, she admitted she remembered, but claimed I took it all out of context. Her excuse? She didn't mean I always ruin things, just that I stress her out because I'm too sensitive and need constant reassurance. She even had the nerve to say the insults about my appearance were obviously just jokes and that her friend didn't mean any harm. It took every ounce of self-control I had not to lose my temper right then and there. I asked her point blank, if it was so harmless, why did she never apologize? She looked me dead in the eye and said, I am not kidding, because apologizing would mean I did something wrong, and I didn't. That was the breaking point. I told her I wasn't coming to the wedding, period. I told her she needed to leave my apartment immediately before I said something I couldn't take back. That's when the mask slipped. She went nuclear. She started screaming that I was jealous of her life, her relationship, and all the attention she was getting. She claimed I always play the victim. Then she said something that permanently severed our relationship. You should be grateful I even included you. People would only notice if you weren't there. I told her to get the hell out of my home. I called her a vile human being, and she slammed the door on her way out. 20 minutes later, my mom called me, screaming her head off. Emily had already gotten to her. She told our mom that I attacked her, called her a narcissist, and threatened to ruin her big day. None of that is true, obviously, but talking to my mom is like talking to a brick wall. She refuses to listen to my side. To make matters worse, my cousin, who was also at the bachelorette weekend, finally texted me. She confirmed she heard the original conversation, but revealed it was actually worse than I thought. According to her, Emily didn't just complain about me. She said she hoped I wouldn't get emotional and cry at the wedding, and she joked about placing me at the end of the bridesmaid line specifically so I'd be easier to crop out of the photos. I genuinely don't know how to process that. My cousin is apologizing now, saying she feels sick for not telling me sooner. So, here we are. I am officially not attending the wedding. Emily has blocked me. Good riddance, honestly. My mom says I've destroyed the family, which makes me feel guilty, but I know I'm not in the wrong here. I'm being threatened with being uninvited from future holidays unless I fix this, but I'm done. I'm exhausted. I'm going to try to sleep, but my phone is blowing up. I just need a break from these people. After the update went up, someone said to OP, "Thank you for giving us the update. I am not at all shocked that she started crying just to make you feel sorry for her, then suddenly changed her mood and got angry to push you away. After that, she threw out a bunch of accusations to justify the words she claimed she did not mean, and in the end, she went complaining to the whole family to make sure they heard her side of the story first. That is such typical narcissistic behavior. You did not call her a narcissist yourself, but she is definitely acting like one." And OP said, "Exactly. I struggled so much to stay calm, and I did tell her that I did not want to do anything I would regret, but I held back so many things that I actually wanted to scream at her. To be honest, I was just hoping she would finally see how much this hurt me and how terrible the situation really was. But of course, she did not. And now everything is just spinning even further out of control." Okay, let's take a breath here. This update is painful, but honestly, it is the closure OP needed. There is no ambiguity anymore. When someone tells you to your face that they won't apologize because hurting you wasn't wrong, believe them. And once you hear that detail from the cousin about cropping OP out of the photos, you realize there was never any love there. It was all for show. And that's where this one ends. A messy situation, complicated people, and no easy answers. If this were you, what would you have done differently, if anything at all? I want to hear your thoughts down below. All right, I just want to say thank you guys so much for being here today with Frank. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.